Hello everybody, it's Steve again. I'm back to give you another video. This one is going to be on the big boards for season 10. Those of you who have been in the fantasy league for a long time will know during the off season I will give you my predictions on who I think will be scoring the most points. I do it by category, and then I also do it by show. And once again, I'm going to refer to my notes because we all know about my memory. If you don't know by now, there's other videos that explain it. But basically, it's kind of like right before the NFL draft, you'll see all these people come up with their predictions on who's going to be drafted first, and all the way down the line. I do it a little bit differently. I give you my predictions on who I think will be the top point scorers per category and then also per show. Now when it comes to category and show big boards, you know that you're probably going to see a lot of the same names twice, but I mean, that's the way it goes. I do understand that WWE has a draft next week for Raw and SmackDown. I assume there's probably going to be some NXT names on there also. But these big boards I do are basically if the draft were to start tomorrow, or if the Fantasy League were to start tomorrow, these would be the names that I would be drafting first. So let's get after it. Alright, we're going to start with the category big boards, and I break down the categories by main roster, NXT, and announcers. The main roster is both male and female, NXT is both male and female, and the announcers are all lumped into one category. And the first category we're going to talk about is the main roster. I'm going to give you 5 males, I'm going to give you 5 females. And the first one, the top main roster talent, I believe right now, is Drew McIntyre. He is the WWE Champion. He is on Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw is a 3-hour show, so the potential for him to be shown more is greater than, I believe, the champion on SmackDown that we'll get into. But my number 1 pick on the main roster is Drew McIntyre. Number 2 is the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. He has come back with a vengeance, with a heel turn, and I believe on SmackDown, basically when you're talking about categories, you got to go with the 2 main champions on top. The next one I'm going to talk about is the current challenger for Drew McIntyre. I thought this program was going to end at Night of Champions, but I guess not. They're probably going to do Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre one more time. So my number 3 male is Randy Orton. Number 4 for the males is Seth Rollins. I'm basically basing this off of historical data because it seems like every season, when you get down to it at the end, Seth Rollins is usually either at the top or close to it. So I pick Seth Rollins for number 4. And for the number 5 male, we have The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. He is constantly has his hands dipped in some kind of program. Right now he and Alexa Bliss have something going on. He's always relevant, so putting him at number 5 I don't believe is a stretch. Alright, now for the female side. The top pick I have on the female side is Bayley. Until she loses the SmackDown Women's Championship, I believe she has the most potential to score points because her championship matches are usually run a little bit longer, and there's more potential for replay. There's more potential for promos with Bayley because she is so good on the mic. So my top female on the main roster right now is Bayley. Number 2 would be the Raw Women's Champion, and that is Asuka. The reason I have her on number 2, even though she is on Monday Night Raw, is her matches are a little shorter. She doesn't mess around. So I put her at number 2, even though she is on Monday Night Raw. Number 3. I have what I hope to be the potential challenger for Asuka at some point. Number 3, I have Shayna Baszler. Right now she's currently one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions. But I believe once they drop those titles, I believe Shayna Baszler is going to go right for Asuka. Number 4, I have Sasha Banks. The program between Sasha Banks and Bayley is probably going to be really, really good. And it's probably going to last a long time. So Sasha Banks will be relevant for a long time, as long as she and Bayley are in a program. So I have her at number 4. Number 5, I have the other half of the Women's Tag Team Championships. I have Nia Jax. I believe Nia Jax is going to be the main obstacle for Shayna Baszler to get by in order for Shayna to go to Asuka, but I believe Nia Jax is a solid pick at number 5. All right, now we're going to go over the NXT big board. Once again, I have these split between males and females. I have the top 5 males, top 5 females. The first thing we're going to do is go over the top 5 males. This also encompasses NXT and NXT UK because they are lumped into the same category. But the number 1 male I have for NXT is, of course, NXT champion Finn Balor. I believe he is on a roll. He is on a level that is head and shoulders above just about everybody in WWE. There's only a few people right now that if you put them in the ring with Finn Balor, there's only a couple of people that I would pick to beat Finn Balor right now. So number 1, I have Finn Balor. The number 2 male I have for NXT is North American champion Damian Priest. This is another guy that I really like. I believe he's going to have a lengthy run with the North American Championship, which keeps him relevant. And so I have him at a solid number 2. At number 3, I have Johnny Gargano. I'm not a fan of his current character, but the way they are trying to portray him right now is, him and Candice LeRae are a power couple, and I believe eventually they are both going to hold titles at the same time. I don't know when, but I would imagine it's going to be sometime during season 10. So I have him at number 3. Number 4 is the NXT United Kingdom champion Walter. NXT UK gets the short end of the stick here because NXT UK, their show is only 1 hour long, whereas NXT proper is a 2-hour show. So there's more potential for the NXT people to be shown and score more points. That's why NXT UK gets kind of ripped on these big boards. But still with Walter, every match he's in is always outstanding. You can point to Tyler Bate, you can point to Pete Dunne, but Walter, I believe, will be scoring the most points in NXT UK, but as far as category goes, I have him at number 4. And number 5, I have Ilya Dragunov, who is the current number 1 contender to the NXT UK Championship. I don't believe he's going to beat Walter for the title, but as of right now, he's currently established as the number 1 challenger, and until that changes, Ilya Dragunov is going to be on this big board list. And next we go to the females for the NXT category, and number 1, of course, right now is Io Shirai. She's the current NXT Women's Champion, and until somebody knocks her off the top of the mountain, she's going to be the number 1 female in the NXT category. At number 2, I have the person who I believe is going to knock Io Shirai off of the top of the mountain. I have Rhea Ripley. I am very much a fan of her work. I love watching her in the ring. Even when she's in there with substandard talent, she still makes a good match out of it. I would refer you to that handicap match she had with Robert Stone and Ilya. Both of those who can't hold a candle to Rhea Ripley in the ring, but she made them both look like $1 million. So I have Rhea Ripley at a solid number 2. Next, number 3, I have Tegan Nox. And I believe had it not been for Rhea Ripley going to NXT, Tegan Nox would be a serious contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Her only problem right now is that Rhea Ripley is going to be the one standing in her way. So number 3 is pretty much the top spot for Tegan Nox at this point. At number 4, I have the NXT UK Women's Champion, which is Kaylee Ray. I watched a match she had with Piper Niven a couple of weeks back where she defended the NXT Women's Championship. Something tells me that the way they portrayed her in that match, they're trying to turn her babyface, which I don't believe I would like. I really like a heel Kaylee Ray, probably a lot better than I would like a babyface Kaylee Ray. But even with a very injured knee during the course of that match, she was able to beat Piper Niven. So I have Kaylee Ray at number 4. And finally at number 5, for the NXT women, I have Candice LeRae. I'll refer you back to the Johnny Gargano statement. Eventually those two are probably going to be the power couple with titles. But there's a lot of obstacles in her way right now, but I still think she's pretty good fit at number 5. All right, now we're going to go over the announcers big board. I'm going to give you my top 5 announcers for season 10. And the big board is usually going to be driven off of what shows these announcers are on. Raw is going to get a lot of love because it's a 3-hour show. SmackDown is going to get a lot of love because it's a 2-hour show, and they also have pay-per-views. So you're probably not going to see much in the way of NXT on these. But the number 1 announcer is the play-by-play announcer for Raw, which is Tom Phillips. The number of times he's shown, every time they show him on camera doing the recap of a match or the lead into a match, he gets an appearance point, along with all the other Raw announcers. So he's a very solid pick at number 1. Number 2, we're going to have Byron Saxton, who is the one of the color commentators on Raw. Same deal with Tom Phillips. He's going to get, points for calling matches. He's going to get points for being shown on camera. However, I do not have Samoa Joe on this list because currently he is not a part of the announcers category. He is still a part of the main roster category. So you're not going to see Samoa Joe. Number 3, I have the play-by-play announcer for SmackDown, which is Michael Cole. I haven't been a fan of his work lately because there's some things that he says that just baffles me. But his potential to score points is a lot higher than most, so we have him at number 3. And number 4, we have the color commentator for SmackDown, which is Corey Graves. Basically the same thing with Michael Cole. Corey Graves has that potential to score a lot of points just because of what show he's on. So I believe he's very solid number 4. And number 5, we have the ring announcer for Raw, Mike Rome. Mike Rome is also on Main Event, which I should have said with Tom Phillips. Also, Tom Phillips and I believe both him and Byron Saxton are on Main Event, which gives them the potential to score more points than anybody else, which is why they're up number 1, number 2. But Mike Rome is also on Main Event for ring announcing, so putting him at number 5 I don't believe is a stretch. Now I'm going to give you the show big boards. I'm going to break down each show: Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, 205 Live, and Main Event. And I'm going to give you the top 5 names for each show that I believe are going to score the most points. And we're going to start with Raw. And like I said, you're going to hear some of the same names, so I'm not going to take a lot of time talking about them since I already have once before. But for Raw, number 1 I have Drew McIntyre. Number 2 I have Randy Orton. Number 3 I have Asuka. Number 4 I have Seth Rollins. And at number 5 I have Bobby Lashley. He's the current United States champion. I don't see anybody taking that title off of him anytime soon. So I believe he's a very solid number 5 on Raw. Now for SmackDown, number 1, we have Roman Reigns. Number 2, Bayley. Number 3, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And number 4, I have Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. The way he has performed lately, I believe, is outstanding. The ladder match at Clash of Champions, I believe the things he did in that match were brilliant. So putting him at number 4 I don't believe is a stretch. And number 5 is Sasha Banks. Alright, now we're going to lump NXT and NXT UK together just because there's a lot of similar names that you've already heard before, so we'll go ahead and lump those two together. But for NXT, number 1, of course, is NXT champion Finn Balor. Number 2 is Io Shirai, the NXT Women's Champion. Number 3 is Damian Priest. Right now at number 4, I have Kyle O'Reilly, since he is going to be the challenger for Finn Balor at NXT TakeOver 31. It would be nice to see him get like a 3-match series with Finn Balor. I hope that happens, which is why I have him at number 4. And number 5, I have Candice LeRae. For NXT UK, I have Walter at the top, followed by Kaylee Ray at number 2. Number 3, I have Ilya Dragunov. Number 4, I have Jinny. In If you watched the NXT Women's Championship match between Kaylee Ray and Piper Niven, after that match was over, lurking in the background at ringside was Jinny. So I believe she will be next for Kaylee Ray. So I believe it's not a stretch to put her at number 4. And at number 5, I have Sid Scala. He is the assistant to the general manager, Johnny Saint. Johnny Saint is not very good on the microphone, so Sid Scala usually does all the talking when it comes to being the general manager on NXT UK. I don't see any other talent stepping up at the moment, so I believe Sid Scala is a very solid number 5. Now we're going to go to 205 Live. 205 Live is still a show, surprisingly enough. But right now I have Santos Escobar at number 1. He is the current, you call him the interim Cruiserweight champion. But I expect he's going to get a lot of exposure on 205 Live because he does currently hold an interim Cruiserweight championship. At number 2, I have Isaiah Swerve Scott. He's the guy I hope dethrones Santos Escobar. So I don't believe it's a stretch to put him at number 2. Number 3, I have the actual Cruiserweight champion, Jordan Devlin. Until he drops that title, I believe his potential to score points on 205 Live is great. Even if he doesn't show up, he's liable to be mentioned a lot. So putting him at number 3, I don't believe you can argue with putting him at number 3. Number 4, I have Kushida. When he is in the ring with cruiserweights, it's tough to bet against him. So putting him at number 4, I don't believe is too outlandish. So I believe that's a very solid number 4. Number 5, I have Oney Lorcan. Usually when he's on 205 Live, he is teaming with Danny Burch. But he does also do the singles every now and then. So putting him above Danny Burch and putting him at number 5 is probably pretty solid. All right, now we're going to talk about Main Event. Main Event is the recap show for basically Raw and SmackDown. It's usually on Thursdays. But I'm going to give you my top 5 games for Main Event. Number 1 is going to be Drew McIntyre, the current WWE Champion. I believe he was the top scorer on Main Event last season. So I don't think it's tough to argue with putting him at number 1. Number 2 is the play-by-play announcer for Main Event, which is Tom Phillips. Number 3 would be the color commentator on Main Event, which is Byron Saxton. Number 4, I have the ring announcer for Main Event, which is Mike Rome. And number 5, I have Bianca Belair. Right now she's getting a lot of matches on Main Event, and she is yet to be defeated, so I don't think it's a stretch to put her at number 5. Alright, so those are my big boards for October 2020. Category big boards. These are the people I believe are going to be scoring the most points by category. And you have your show big boards, which these people are probably going to be getting a lot of love on the shows that they represent. So I think we have a pretty solid big board, of course, until the draft happens next week, which is probably going to throw all of this into disarray, and I'll have to be changing everything for November. But like I said, if the Fantasy League were to start tomorrow, these are the people I would be focusing on when you're doing your draft. I hope everybody has a good day. Take care, and we will see you again next time.